Is the homelessness issue more about drugs, mental health, or failed leadership, or a combination of all three?
I think it's a combination of all three. The big misconception that I see online from people who don't live in the Portland area is that it's a housing issue. And most of our political leadership here in Portland and throughout Oregon, they frame it as such. No pun intended. They frame it as a housing issue. This is a drug crisis. This is a situation where people are suffering from drug addiction, and in Portland and throughout Oregon in general, there's an advocacy to make it easier for people to not only obtain drugs, but to be able to live within that lifestyle. A lot of times it gets framed as a mental health issue, but we don't look at the issue of people having unfeathered access. Let that motorcycle go by. People don't really look at the issue as a demographic of people having unfeathered access to drugs, to harm reduction items like needles and tourniquets and glass pipes, things like that. And then also the issues on the street. People that are living on the street that are suffering from drug addiction, these are people that are often attacked. These are people that are often placed in situations where they're being sex trafficked, situations where they're being abused, and that leads to, and it contributes to people having mental health issues. I know that if I was having to live on the street and do God knows what for drugs, and also being beholden to that addiction and suffering from that addiction and being out on the cold, I would probably be suffering from mental health issues as well. I have mental health issues and I live a perfectly normal life, so I can only imagine. It's the improper framing of this being a housing crisis that I think continues to lead and perpetuates the problem that we're seeing here in Portland. From a leadership standpoint, the people who are making the laws and advocating for the changes here in the Portland area or Oregon proper, they're not on the ground close enough to see what's happening. We saw Governor Kotek about 2 weeks ago that walked through an area of Portland and was speaking directly to the president and saying, the issues that you're saying about Portland, they're not valid. This is not happening. Everything that's going on here is great. And that's simply not the case. Too many of our people who are working in leadership are not on the ground close enough to see the things that are happening. Kyler and myself right now, we could walk down any one of the streets within close proximity and you would see the homeless crisis, you would see the drug crisis, you would see the epidemic of people who are in pain, people who are hurting, and people who are suffering. So I think that the answer is that it's all of those. It's all of those. It's the